back with another recipe testing vlog. If you saw last week's vlog, I tested this pumpkin cake with brown butter cream cheese frosting. It turned out pretty good. The flavor was there, especially with the frosting. It did dome a little bit too much in the middle though, which I wanted it to be a little bit flatter. And then I need to add a little bit more cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice to the batter to kind of like make it feel a little bit more folly, because I didn't use that much pumpkin. And it also took some trial and error to actually figure out how I wanted to decorate it. I repiped it like 3 different times. So I'm testing it again right now. It's Monday also, and I kind of got a little bit of a late start to the day. It's 1:30 and I'm just now starting to bake. But for this second test of the pumpkin cake recipe, I actually left a lot of the measurements the same. I was thinking about if I should increase the pumpkin, and it's kind of annoying because I don't use a whole can of pumpkin, and I personally find that really annoying when you don't use a whole can of something. But we're not making that much cake, so it wouldn't make sense to use all the pumpkin. I couldn't decide whether I thought it was less annoying to use like 3/4 of the can or half the can. And me personally, I feel like it's less annoying to have half of a can left, because then at least you can do something with it. I feel like if you only have like 1/4 of a cup of pumpkin or half a cup of pumpkin puree left, like there's not that much you can do with it. But if you do find that annoying, I think you could get away with using a little bit more pumpkin in the cake actually. And then I'm actually increasing the sugar a little bit, because sometimes if you don't use enough sugar, the cake will kind of like go up. And if you use way too much sugar, the cake will sink too much. So I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more sugar, and I used all brown sugar last time. So I'm using white sugar mostly, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit of brown sugar. So I'm literally just increasing it by like 1/4 of a cup. And I did feel like it needed to be a little bit sweeter. So here I just have the batter. This is just pumpkin oil and the sugars. Oops. And the sugars, and then I'm gonna add the dry ingredients. We're gonna bake it off. And I'm kind of annoyed because I got these pepitas, pumpkin seeds, from Fresh Direct this morning, or Instacart. I thought I was ordering a big bag, but I ordered this like teeny little bag. I mean, look how small it is, and this was like $9, which is so absurd. I do think it's okay though, because I do actually think this is enough. I did think the amount I added last time was maybe too much. And then I'm also trying to figure out if I should pipe it differently than last time. But I actually like the design from last time, so we'll see. That'll be a later decision. Okay, so here's the cake. It still has like a tiny bit of a dome, which is honestly okay. It's definitely better than last time. I don't think it's gonna get any better than this, honestly. And you can kind of see, like, it domes pretty evenly instead of kind of going up like a mountain in a sense. And you can definitely tell it's a bit moister than last time. I don't think I mentioned this about the sugar before. The sugar can really impact its rise, which also means that sugar plays a huge role in like how moist cakes are. So because we added a little bit of more sugar, and especially white sugar, it's gonna be a little bit more moist and just like a little bit sweeter, obviously. I'm excited to try this one and see if it tastes like more spiced. And then here I have that brown butter frosting, which I talked enough about last time, so I'm not gonna talk about it more this time. But really, really good. Can't go wrong. So last time when I made the candied pepitas, I did like an egg white and sugar mixture. But the issue is, if you make candied pepitas or sugared pepitas only for this recipe, you really don't need that many. So you probably only need like half a cup. But in order to do it with egg whites, you have to have probably at least like a cup or a cup and a half, because otherwise you're gonna end up with way too much of that egg white mixture. And it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't wanna waste a whole egg yolk and then also like half an egg white, and it's so annoying to have to like use half an egg white. So instead I'm gonna test just doing it on the stove instead of in the oven. So instead of using egg white, I'm just gonna melt a little bit of sugar, add the pepitas in there, and then just let them cool, pour a little bit more sugar on top, and then they'll just be like more like kind of classic candy pepitas. I feel like it's gonna work out. I'm kind of in a rush now because I'm actually going to an event with a friend. His name is Eddie, and he owns Eddie's Grocer up in Greenpoint. If you've been there, it's amazing. But we're going to that at 6:30, and I just ran such an unnecessary errand to Sephora, and I got way too much stuff. All makeup that I don't actually need, but like also feel like I need, you know? Like an eyelash curler, I got bronzer, road stuff, and I've been really good about not spending money the last month. But now that I'm about to get paid, for some reason the past week I've been like shopping a little bit too much, but I actually need to chill because I actually don't have the money to be shopping like this right now. I'm gonna try to finish this quickly, clean up a bit, and then we have a really busy week the rest of the week. So let's see how many pepitas this actually is. Okay, it's like a third cup. I added a little bit of water too, just to kind of help get the sugar to melt faster. And normally if you want to like candy nuts or anything, you don't really want to stir it because it's gonna form sugar crystals. But with this, I kind of like wouldn't mind if there were like some kind of sugar crystals around the pepitas, because it would kind of mimic that like egg white mixture, you know? So that's why I'm kind of stirring it a little bit now, and I'm actually not really gonna brown it. Actually, do I? I should have kind of toasted them first actually, but maybe I will brown it just a bit so that the pepitas can at least like have some color. It's getting like very light brown, and here you wanna really like make sure to watch it because it goes from browned to burnt super fast. I think once they harden and we break them apart, I think they'll be good enough to put on the cake. I wasn't gonna show piping the cake just because I literally did a whole episode about this cake last week, and I'm like, how interesting is it? But I actually think I'm gonna pipe it a little bit differently, so I'm gonna film it just because why not? And I don't know if this is gonna turn out super nice, but I have a vision and we'll see. Okay, here's the final. I don't hate it. I do like the kind of like divots out here, but obviously it kind of covers up a lot of the top, which is fine because the ones in the center weren't like the prettiest. And here is the slice. You can just tell by looking at the crumb that it is moister. I will say you can kind of tell that I didn't mix it that well because there's a pocket right there, like an air pocket. That's where there was like baking soda or baking powder. Okay, I'm gonna taste it. I will say this one actually is better. The first one was really good, but this one is definitely moister, and I actually think I like the pepitas better this way. They're a little bit more candied and a little bit crunchier because the cream cheese frosting is so like rich and sweet. I think it works really well with like a slightly thicker layer of cake. I'm gonna pack up some of this cake and bring it up to my neighbors upstairs, or my landlords, and then I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna head to the event, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, good morning. It is Wednesday, and I honestly, it's not that I haven't filmed, but it's honestly that I haven't baked anything. I actually did test a recipe last night, but it wasn't really worth filming. It was like super quick, and I felt like it was like a sponge cake, like an almond sponge, and I just was like in the zone and I wanted to just like get it done with. But today I actually have a lot of stuff I need to film. I need to make a banana cake recipe. I know I did a banana bread last week. I'm gonna basically do like a banana cake but with like caramelized pecan bottom situation, and it's gonna be almost like, you know, when you have like sticky buns, when you have that like really caramelized nut layer on the bottom, but with banana cake. And then I'm gonna make a batched cocktail. This is for our partnership that I'm doing, taking a recipe that was one of my coworkers at Food 22 developed, Emily Zamsky. It's her whiskey sour batched cocktail, but I'm gonna change it a little bit, and instead of making a spice syrup with water, I'm gonna use apple cider to make it like a little bit more fall. And I think I'm gonna do some dried apples too. There's something about when Lucas is gone. When he's here, I'm good at going to bed early, I wake up early, I get my day started, but for some reason when he's gone, I always like stay up late, I wake up late. I feel like almost it's like a parent being gone, but I need to be better at like holding myself accountable when he is gone. It's not that often, but still, it's like I want to continue my good habits, you know? Tonight I have plans to go to a pop-up dinner, so I really want to just like try and finishing everything quickly this morning so I have time to do some admin work later. I have like the base banana cake recipe down. I just need to do a little bit of research on like what I should add exactly for the base pecan nut layer, but I should have all the ingredients at least. I also just made myself a little smoothie. I really feel like I honestly have time to like spend a lot of time on breakfast today, so just a quick little protein smoothie. This is like my go-to. Obviously I bake with a lot of dairy, but my stomach doesn't actually like really tolerate it that well, so I can't do regular milk, otherwise I would for protein. But instead I use soy milk, and it has like 12 grams of protein per cup. I use the Eden one from Whole Foods, and it's super clean and it's fortified with some extra vitamins. Obviously not sponsored, I just really like it. This is the first outfit that I'm filming in. It's actually super comfy, and it has like matching shorts. I love it. So I'm gonna make the banana bread. I obviously would prefer making banana bread with like super ripe bananas, but this is all we have. So I'm actually gonna pop them in the oven for just a few minutes to get a little bit more color on them. Mainly for the video. It's gonna help soften them up a little bit too. It's not necessarily gonna make them much sweeter, but at least it will make them a little bit mushier. So hot. While those are getting a little extra browning, I'm gonna get started on the pecan layer, and I just did a little R&D, looked at a few different recipes and kind of like adjusted to what I want. A lot of recipes call for a decent amount of pecans, but they're also using a much bigger cake pan. I'm just using this one and it's a little bit dirty. I should give it a wash. So I'm gonna do probably a cup and a half or a cup of pecans, and then I'm gonna make like a brown sugar syrup that you pour on top of the pecans, and then we'll make the banana butter after. Okay, looks like a lot of pecans, but I wanted it to kind of cover the entire bottom for the most part. Also, here are the bananas. When I tried to hold them up, the peel just like came right off. But yeah, they're way more browned and way softer. And then here is what's gonna become that like caramelized stuff that we're gonna pour on the pecans. It's just maple syrup, heavy cream, brown sugar, butter, and I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. Oh my god, I just realized that I forgot to grease the pan. I saved it, transferred it over to the pan again, and I'm just gonna like heavily grease this. I'm actually gonna add some parchment paper to the bottom because then it's gonna be easier to flip upside down. I don't know why I didn't even think about that before I started. Moving on to actual banana bread part. I'm not gonna show this because I literally made banana bread in the last video, but I will show you the final results, of course. So while I'm waiting for the banana bread to finish baking, I'm now working on a whiskey sour recipe, kind of a last minute recipe, and I am gonna make it like very fall inspired. So I'm gonna do an apple cider. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to garnish it, but I think I'm gonna do some dried apples, depending on how long they're gonna take in the oven. And I was trying to debate if I should do like a batched version for you to have on. Should I do a batch version? The thing is, a batch version is better for when you're having guests over, but a non-batched version looks a little bit better if you want to shake it with like an egg white or something. Then maybe I'll do batched, and then you could like individually shake it with an egg white if you want. Maybe I'll do that actually, because I do like having just like pre-made cocktails ready, and that makes it really easy when you just like want to drink, you know? I was trying to think of like if there's something else I should do with it, but I think I'm honestly gonna keep it pretty simple because I feel like that's what people want most of the time. And you're already reducing the apple cider quite a bit, so that's already, and you're making the dried apple slices, so that's already kind of a step. Here is my base recipe. You can see I like barely have written anything here, but I'm gonna go back in later and kind of like fill that up obviously. But this is all I need to be able to make this. And then I'll go in and add some notes, and that'll be it. She's done. I'm trying not to burn myself. Looks really good, and it baked super evenly, which I'm happy about. Okay, I'm trying to prep the dried apple slices right now. It's really hard to cut them into super thin and even slices, just because I got a mandolin recently, but I think I lost it during the move. I don't know where it went, but this is not bad. I'm just gonna try to make them really thin because I want them to bake kind of quickly, although that's not really like a thing with dried apples. I'm gonna put them in the oven for about 2 hours. Should I do convection bake? Yes, I am gonna do convection bake. So I'm gonna do 200 instead of 225. That looks delicious. I don't know what's going on in my sink right now. The banana cake looks super moist and tender. I was assuming that maybe it would be thicker, but I'm actually pretty happy with the thickness of this. And yeah, I actually don't mind that the pecans kind of sank a little bit. I wish it had been maybe a little less cooked on the top, but that's my own fault because I kind of messed up obviously at the beginning, but in the recipe, if you make this and you don't do what I did, then I think it should bake off perfectly. I also forgot to film it, but I did just taste it. Actually really good. I'm super happy with it. It's not too sweet because the actual cake part isn't too sweet, and then you get the like crunchy topping, and I think I'm gonna maybe do a little flaky sea salt on top, or what could be really nice is a little bit of whipped cream, but that might be going a little overboard. I take back what I said earlier and ignore the clips. I'm trying not to mess up my hair because I gave myself a blowout this morning. But I decided to actually whip some cream just because I want the photo to look really nice, and the lighting in here is really good by the window, so I kind of thought why not. But I just got back from running some errands. I went to the bank, which luckily is pretty close to me, which is really nice. And then I was gonna go get some safety pins because I have these new jeans from Zara. You can't really see them from here, but they're pretty long and I do need to get them hemmed, but I feel like I should wait a little bit. So in the meantime, I wanted to get some safety pins to kind of pin them up because I do also like the double, kind of like the folded look, but of course Walgreens didn't have any, so I'm just gonna have to like continue to like walk around and fold them up as I go. But as I was walking, I was getting really excited for the pop-up tonight. His name is Max, and he also does food content and recipes, and he did something at Food too for a little bit, and so he's having a pop-up at Rude Mouth in Brooklyn tonight. And Rude Mouth is one of my favorite. Sorry if you can hear the whisking. It's probably so annoying. But Rude Mouth is one of my favorite wine bars in Williamsburg. I honestly prefer it way more than Sauce, if you've been to Sauce, because Sauce is always very sceney and it's fun, obviously, but it's very sceney and it's always really hard to get a table or like a spot to sit. And Rude Mouth, I've been able to go and sit every time I've gone, and it has that same like cozy outdoor area and really good wine, really good food, and just like a little bit chiller. But I'm excited because I feel like I'm gonna know a decent amount of people who are gonna be there, and the weather's just so nice, so I feel like it's gonna be a really nice end to the day. And then Lucas gets home. The day is going actually very well. I feel like I'm pretty on track. I will say I was gonna make the cocktail recipe tonight, but I just feel like I want to prioritize testing this other recipe, so I'm actually gonna do the cocktail tomorrow, which is perfect because I do have to leave in like, oh my god, is it already almost 4? It's crazy, the day flew. So I'm gonna make a mac and cheese also because I'm craving it, and I know Lucas is gonna be happy to have some mac and cheese when he gets back. So I'm gonna make that. And I have some shells, which is the best mac and cheese pasta for sure. Measuring out some cheese first. I have Parm, and then I have some extra sharp cheddar. Okay, my camera battery is gonna die, so I'm gonna charge it while I continue on the mac and cheese, and then hopefully I'll be able to show you guys like the final, or at least like a few of the last steps. Okay, here's the cheese sauce. Looks so good. I did realize though, I kind of fucked up because I was trying to half the recipe because I didn't want to make like that much mac and cheese, but I still added the same amount of butter and flour for the roux, so the whole sauce just is a bit thicker than I want it to be. I'd like it to be a little bit runnier and a little bit more like saucy than cheesy, but I mean, it's only us eating it and it's still gonna be really good. But I just like, every time I try to half a recipe or double a recipe, I have to like actually write it out by measurement. Otherwise, I always mess a measurement up. Like, it's a given. Look at this mac and cheese. It looks insane, and not to brag, but it tastes really good. So smooth, no splitting in sight. So this concludes the day, I think. I'm gonna get ready for the pop-up and then probably just take the subway over there. I was gonna drive, but I don't want to deal with having to find parking. And then this will be ready for Lucas when he gets home at like midnight tonight, and we'll see what I end up filming tomorrow. I actually think I'm gonna divide up the rest of the week because I'm gonna be in Vermont next weekend, or next week. So I am gonna end the vlog today and then continue filming whatever I bake the rest of the weekend, I guess, and then make that the next vlog. Today I'm gonna not test, well, kind of test a recipe. I feel like every time I bake, I'm like in a way testing a recipe because I'm always like thinking about like how I could make something better. But I'm gonna be prepping for a birthday cake that I'm making. I guess it doesn't have to be fully done until Saturday, but I want to get ahead of it because I have a lot to do in the next few days. And the worst thing is when you're baking a cake and you're rushed or like pressed on time, because when you're making a cake too, there's so many different things you can go wrong. The cake can overbake, it can be crumbly, the frosting can split, and that, oh shit, good. I forgot I had the, I turned the oven on to preheat, but I forgot I still had the apple slices in there from yesterday. I ended up having to bake them for a bit longer, but now they're not super crispy yet, I think because they're warm, but look how cute they are. If I can focus. I love how they like curled up on the edges. Anyway, as I was saying, that's definitely happened to me before where I'm baking a cake and it has to be done that day and then something goes wrong and then I have to restart parts of it. So I'm just gonna make the cake layers today, and then I'll pop them in the freezer and then I'll have them for assembly I think tomorrow, and then I'll assemble the whole cake tomorrow and then put it in the fridge, because especially cakes like that have Swiss meringue buttercream, they can last a day or a night in the fridge, especially if you do a cake soak. I'm not really sure what the flavors are going to be yet. I know he likes chocolate. It's a friend's brother-in-law, I guess, and I do want to make it really nice, so I'm trying to think of like what other flavors I could add. And it's fall, so I'm gonna try to make it a little like fall inspired. So I'm gonna do some brainstorming about that later, but I'm gonna make the cake layers first. I'm gonna actually bake it in this big sheet pan because sometimes it's just so much easier to like cut it out into rounds rather than having to bake it in multiple different cake pans. I will say though, that's really because I don't have that many cake pans. I really need to get some more. I just like hate cutting a cake this way. I feel like it gets really messy and it can get uneven pretty quickly, so I'm gonna do that. I actually could not be happier with how the cake baked off. It is so flat. And I will say it's partially thanks to this sheet pan. This is not sponsored, but Heston, they're expensive, but if you want amazing sheet pans that are gonna last you literally forever, Heston is amazing. And they bake super, super evenly. See how, my hair is a mess. See how flat the cake is? This is perfect. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna end the vlog there so that I can use the footage from the next few days for the next vlog. Thanks so much for watching. I love filming these, they're so fun. And if there's anything specific that you wanna either learn more about or see or whatever, just let me know in the comments and I'll see you guys in the next video.